No way, my favorite Pokemon, Typhlosion, is trending? I gotta find out why. Oh no! A massive data breach at Pokemon studio Game Freak has resulted in troves of information being spewed onto the web. Dubbed the Terra Leak, it apparently contains employee info, the source code for older games like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and Black 2 and White 2, as well as code for unreleased titles, Pokemon Legends Z to A, and the unannounced 10th gen game, codenamed Gaia, although the leaker says they're holding on to those ones for now. The Terra Leak also includes internal discussions and design documents, giving a rare glimpse into the very secretive Pokemon development process. Last week, Game Freak did officially acknowledge the leak of employee info following a server breach in August, but the company made no reference to the Pokemon leaks. That may have something to do with the leaks also allegedly containing multiple stories written at Game Freak about Pokemon and humans engaging in non-consensual breeding and producing offspring, including one story that makes Typhlosion into a predator, and not the sharp-toothed kind, the private island kind.
Why would a Pokemon even need 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
Oh God, no. But guys, you don't get it. The stories are in-universe mythology, taking place a long time ago when the boundary between Pokemon and humans was still blurred, which totally explains why a modern human chose to write these stories as background for a kid-friendly franchise. It's fine. You'd think the leakers would fear Nintendo's lawyers, but really, this is the ultimate defense against Nintendo. They can't sue over things they don't dare acknowledge. This weekend, a spiritual successor to the CRPG pretty much everyone acknowledges as a modern classic, Disco Elysium, was announced from a new studio, Longdew, composed of devs from original developer Zaum, as well as veterans from studios like Bungie and Rockstar. Longdew hasn't shared the names of the Disco Elysium developers that are working for it, but I can tell you who isn't there: motion graphic designer Timo Albert, who co-founded a separate Zaum successor studio called Dark Math Games.
Dark math? Like algebra?
Geometry. It's the worst. That studio announced itself the same day as Longdew and revealed it's working on its own game called XXX Night Shift.
This one gets real sexy.
Starring Vin Diesel. Coincidentally, that's also what I call my second job. This announcement brought the number of alleged Zaum successor studios to 4. The first one was Zaum itself, which still exists as some undead entity, a zombie, if you will.
I won't.
Then the second official studio was Red Info Limited, allegedly helmed by Disco Elysium lead writer and designer Robert Kurvitz, as well as art director Alexander Rostov. But apparently 4 studios still wasn't enough for the world to handle, so a 5th one was announced, Summer Eternal. Now, many people have been making jokes about how Disco Elysium's themes are rooted in communist theory, because it's now spawned numerous offshoots all claiming to be the true successor. But if we're judging who should succeed based on how left they are, my money's on Summer Eternal. They claim to be worker and player owned, their whole site is red, and they're the only studio that literally published a manifesto.
I want to see Bethesda's manifesto.
Make people angry. It's one sentence. Steam Next Fest is here, meaning it's your chance to get a little taste of upcoming titles. Some are already topping the charts, like Delta Force, previously called Delta Force Hawk Ops. The game's currently in its first fully public online playtest and is the 34th most played game on the platform. Then there's The Precinct, a detective sandbox sim with a camera that's not quite top down, so I'll refer to it as a 7th person shooter. The farther back you go, there's more people in between you and this, so yeah. Also pretty popular is AI Limit, offering a unique twist on the Souls-like genre. In this game, you're a cute anime girl. Axis Unseen is a heavy metal horror game made by a Skyrim developer, so naturally you play as a stealth archer. Midnight Murder Club is a 6-player game that asks the question, what if hide and seek, but guns? Dead Cells fans can try out Windblown, the upcoming 1 to 3 player roguelite from Dead Cells developer Motion Twin. And speaking of roguelites, Diesel Dome, Oil and Blood is a Roman punk FPS inspired by Vampire Survivors and boomer shooters like Ultra Kill. Hey, looking for a spook? Check out Heartworm, a 90s style survival horror with optional tank controls.
Why should the tank controls be optional?
And Me-Side is a game where you're sucked into a game world by your digital waifu. And I want to be very clear about this, that's a bad thing. Yeah, but it's never a bad thing to check out our sponsor, Private Internet Access. It's a VPN that stuffs your IP address and location through an encrypted tunnel because it watched the Fellowship of the Ring and took Gandalf's advice very literally.
Is it secret? Is it safe? Fool of a took.
PIA hides your browsing habits from your internet provider and other parties who want it because they're grubby little data goblins with no poise. No poise at all! With a single PIA subscription, you get an unlimited number of connections on Windows, macOS, Android, iOS, and Linux using their global network spanning over 91 countries, letting you access whatever content you want no matter where you are. Which is something PIA won't even know because they never record or store user data. It's been proven in court and by a third-party audit and by you if you care to look at their open source code. So go check out PIA at lmg.gg/PIA GameLinked or by using our link in the description for an exclusive deal with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. I'm just gonna take this opportunity before the quick bits to just clear my browsing history of any Pokemon links in case the FBI is watching. 1 second. Steam has added a notice to its shopping cart that tells users up front that what they're buying is technically just a digital license and not ownership. Perhaps the change was made to get ahead of a recently passed California law that will require digital storefronts to make that distinction clear. Good Old Games, or GOG, responded with a cheeky banner of their own, pointing out that their digital purchases grant access to offline installers, meaning that while you still technically don't own them, you'll always have access to them, even if there's a licensing issue. You can presumably even pass them down in a will. And to my heirs, I pass down my collection of Train Simulator 2019 DLC, worth an estimated $10,373. Enjoy. Xbox Cloud Gaming will reportedly let you stream way more games next month, according to The Verge reporter and professional Microsoft whisperer Tom Warren. According to Warren's sources, players will be able to stream games you own that aren't part of the Xbox Game Pass library, something that gamers have been promised for some time. Xbox Cloud Gaming was supposed to have the feature at launch in 2020. Microsoft then announced the feature would arrive in 2022, which of course didn't happen. But third time's a charm, right guys? Enjoy. A trailer has been released discussing the post-launch content coming to Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 in the next year. For starters, more details have been given for the new 7th PvE operation, revealing that players will be taking on a Hierophant Biotitan, which is canonically a very big bad boy. Unfortunately, developer Saber Interactive hasn't given an official release date for it. They simply say it's coming very, very soon. So like, is tomorrow good for you, or? Dragon Ball, sparking 0. Launched on Friday and did crazy numbers for both a Dragon Ball game and a game with that much punctuation in the title. It sold 3 million copies in 24 hours and hit a peak player count of 122,554, eclipsing the 44,000 achieved by Dragon Ball FighterZ back in 2016. Despite the game's success, sources told Bloomberg that publisher Bandai Namco is cutting its workforce in a traditional Japanese way, sending as many as 200 workers to sit in rooms with nothing to do, hoping they'll quit. But the company explicitly denies doing this, saying that some employees may simply need to wait a little bit to be assigned to their next project, rumored to have the working title Dragon Ball Budokai! Clean out your desk. And lead Skyrim designer Bruce Nesmith told Video Gamer that Bethesda is unlikely to move away from the in-house game engine they've been using for 12 years because it's perfectly tuned for the kinds of games that Bethesda makes. You know, games where plot-important NPCs occasionally phase through the floor and flail around like an inflatable tube man breakdancing outside an auto dealership. Those kind. Nesmith acknowledged that the games could be more polished, but also that studios have limited resources and need to make choices. Look, do you want a game where you can steal every wheel of cheese in the kingdom? Or one where you never see a mammoth suddenly rocket into the stratosphere? Pick one! But we'll be over the moon, like the mammoth, if you come back on Thursday for more gaming news. I've always wanted to visit ever since Tom Hanks screwed up his moon mission. I think I can do better. Houston, we won't have any problems at all. Trust me.